Hi, IBBY TV. Welcome. I'm Darby McCarthy, and I am here today with a very special guest. Who am I talking with?
This is ANDREW MARANISS.
ANDREW MARANISS. He is a local. How would our readers or viewers know you?
Right. So I'm an author of nonfiction that's sports and social justice related, middle grade and young adult. Written books called Strong Inside, which is a biography of Perry Wallace, who was the first African-American basketball player in the SEC. He played at Vanderbilt. Wrote a book called Games of Deception, which is a story of the first U.S. Olympic men's basketball team at the 1936 Olympics in Nazi Germany. And a book called Singled Out, which is a biography of Glenn Burke, who was the first openly gay Major League Baseball player and the inventor of the high five. And I have a fourth book coming out in September called Inaugural Ballers, which is a story of the first women's Olympic basketball team, U.S. team, that played at the 76 Olympics in Montreal.
So I notice a couple of themes here. I'm noticing sports.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing themes that are grander than that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly my mission in writing these books, is to write about things, first of all, that I'm interested in, that I think are important issues for the world. So natural interest in sports going back to when I was a kid. I was a history major in college, so history's always been interesting to me. But then I think just the state of the world right now, books that are about important social issues and getting beyond racism, beyond homophobia, sexism, fascism popping its head up these days. These are the subjects that my books cover, with sports as the hook to get a kid interested in the first place.
Have you heard from anyone who's read your books?
At the conference?
Yes.
Yeah, I have. A woman just came up to me from Connecticut who said that my book, Games of Deception, was on their summer reading list this year, and that her kids love the books, and that she was happy to meet me, which was great. I wasn't, necessarily expecting to have teachers or professors here that had heard of the books before, but I've gotten a really nice reception, which has been great.
All the way here from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And she's read your book.
Yeah.
And then I think you said something about there was a boy from Portland, right? Or was it Oregon? Or was it Seattle?
Oh.
I can't remember.
That came up to me here?
No, no, not even at the conference. You were talking at the conference is where I heard the story.
Yeah.
You told an anecdote about Singled Out.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So here's the story. So this guy, I'm sorry, I got thrown off like
No.
he's like in his mid-20s.
Oh, okay.
So he's a singer-songwriter here in Nashville and also a professional baseball player. He read Singled Out prior to his baseball season this year, was inspired by Glenn Burke's coming out story, and did it himself this year in the middle of his baseball season, and it went great. There was a story in USA Today about his experience, and one of the opposing players was kind of staring him down during the game and tipped his cap, and the guy was, concerned that there might be some like hostility towards him, but in fact, it was the exact opposite, and he found a lot of support. So that was really meaningful.
And that shows just kind of the place that a book can connect everybody from all over, right?
Yeah, you love those connections, and it also shows, and one thing I try to do with my books, I feel like there's a lot of YA fiction that adults read just as much as young people, but not nonfiction for YA is not really thought of that way. But what I try to do with my books is write them in a way where 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grader, high school kid, college student, adult could all read it. It's just a story. Maybe a little bit shorter than a typical adult book, but really that's the only difference. I do the same research that I did for the adult books I've written. And so to hear from a professional baseball player that they like the book, and I've also heard from 6th graders that they like the book. So that makes me happy.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming to this conference and talking about it. I know you mentioned 2 other people who are here that we really know and were involved with.
Yeah, so Ann Neely, who I think is familiar to everybody at this conference, professor here at Vanderbilt, has been a mentor of mine and was really the one that pushed me to adapt my first book for young people. And that has set me off on a career of writing young adult books. I'm really so happy to be able to recognize Ann here. And then also Ruta Sepetys, who's a terrific author of YA fiction, who also lives here in Nashville and really had the same influence on me, and has taken me under her wing, and couldn't do what I do without her either.
Thank you so much for taking some time and speaking with us, both out there at the conference and here on IBBY TV.
My pleasure.
We'll be looking forward to your new book coming out September 13th, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.